Oh God, this was rough. Just really bad. Maybe the worst season opening of the show. I don't read Supernatural spoilers going into the seasons anymore. I used to around season 9, but after 11 or so, I just stopped because when people would post spoilers, they would often speculate about what that all meant for the season and the characters going forward, and the theories that the fans and even myself came up with were always better, more interesting than what actually happened. So, going into this episode, I didn't know anything. I don't think I even watched the trailers. I was entirely fresh with no bias besides the negative feelings the show has cultivated in me for years now. And check out the review I did of season 14 with my sister to see more on that. I really do want to like this show again, guys. I don't enjoy pointing out the same flaws over and over and finding new ones. But for now, let's get into all of the things that we're wrong with Back into the Future. First of all, this episode was not funny. Of course, humor is subjective, but I believe Jensen Ackles could have been a comedic actor in another life, and maybe in this one if he wasn't so attractive, because his comedic timing is just that excellent. But when he delivered the funny lines in this episode, I did not laugh. I didn't laugh at the lines Alexander Calvert delivered either that were supposed to be funny. I'm pretty sure that this was a product of the writing or neither actor being very into the episode. I did like exactly one funny moment when Sam accidentally shot Cass and he said, "You shot me." That got a little smile out of me, so good job, Misha. I said in my season 14 review that watching the show now is watching a bunch of talented people either not caring or wasting their time. And I think Jared does not care anymore because he really phoned it in season 14, but he had a little more life in him this episode, so that's good. He only did that weird facial spasm reaction thing once, and that was early on in the episode when they were all in the crypt. Maybe it was because this episode was more physical for Jared and he just didn't have the chance to make all those weird faces. I don't know. And maybe Jensen and Alex have joined him in the ranks of not caring. I can't base that judgment off of this episode alone, so stay tuned for more acting from Jensen and Alex to see how that all goes. Above all, this episode depressed me because it was a reminder of how good this show used to be. Under Kripke, I believe that the show was worth mentioning in the same sentence as The X-Files and Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Supernatural was a legacy of both those hugely influential TV shows, as well as the comic series Hellraiser and American Gods, and a bunch of other things, like, Star Wars and Ghostbusters and On the Road. Kripke took from a lot of different sources to make Supernatural. Seasons 6 through 11 were not as good as 1 through 5, but still, there were a lot of great episodes there, a lot of interesting ideas played with, good characters, and acting moments, and the sense that the people behind it were still passionate about the series. At season 15, with Andrew Tabb at the wheel, all of that is gone. None of that passion is there. I mean, bringing back Bloody Mary, first of all, how she killed in this episode wasn't consistent with how she killed in her episode in season 1. The girl who saw her in the mirror teared at her cheeks. In season 1, Mary turned her victims' eyes to blood until they poured out their sockets. Also, were the girls in that room responsible for someone's death? Do people not need to say Mary's name to need her appear now? Because all of those things were pretty important before. And, of course, Mary used to be scary. It was effective as hell and really clever to show that we're surrounded by reflective surfaces, meaning that you're never safe from Mary, which was a great idea. Apparently, the actress who played her before, Giovanna Burke, came back to play her again. I wouldn't have guessed that because she has none of that cool, spooky screen presence that she did with the character before. And the way that Bloody Mary moved was so strange, unnatural, and freaky, but here she's just running after Sam and Cass like normal. Plus, her makeup effects back in season 1 were way more impressive and effective. She wouldn't pass as a Fright Fest cast member now, I can tell you that. Consistency isn't a thing with the Lady in White either. For one, Dean wasn't the one who took her home. That was Sam. Secondly, when we see her first victim in the car, his body is gone, like it was before, but when she killed the sheriff, his body was still there. Also, she made out with Sam to make him unfaithful to Jess before she killed him, since, that was a part of her MO, but the sexy part of Constance Welsh is entirely gone. Nothing that made her unique or stand out before is in this episode. Bloody Mary and the Lady in White are just boogly kid show monsters, making scary faces and growling and running after the good guys, but who probably gets worse treatment than either of them is the ghost of John Wayne Gacy or Pogo the Clown. Okay, first of all, why did they have the actor do that growl when it was just so silly and so stupid and something from a kid's show? Anyway, he's not listed as Pogo or Gacy on IMDb, but if you look at a picture of Pogo and this clown that was on Supernatural, it's the same. In case you didn't know, Gacy did not kill women of any age. He killed teenage boys and buried them in the crawl space of his house. He didn't kill people dressed as a clown either. Maybe I'm the only person who cares about this, but the inaccuracy of it all bothers me. He should have been chasing after a football team or something like that, not this mom and her little girl who were only there to scream, run, and be saved by Sam and Cass. The show keeps up its tradition of flagrantly stealing from Buffy the Vampire Slayer by calling all of the Hell Ghosts chasing after the boys a Hellmouth. Also, Belphegor's first conversation with Team Free Will was very much like Spike talking to Buffy in Becoming. Now, previously, I would think that this was a cute reference, but as I sort of got into in my season 14 review, I am really tired of Buffy references on this show because to me, it's an obvious sign of laziness and uncreativity on the part of the writers who are currently on staff. I suspect that all of the callbacks to Kripke's era are another sign of that as well. Bringing up that Dean tortured people in hell, how long has it been since any of that was brought up? What are they going to do with that? Probably screw it up, but hey, you never know. The part in the show that I felt the most insulted was when Dean called the new character that Alex is playing, Belphegor, Crowley Jr. This pissed me off so much because the crew treated Mark Sheppard so horribly, killed Crowley off in just this terribly stupid way, and have had a parade of Crowley ripoff characters since. Ketch and Anael both kinda suck because they're just pale imitations of Crowley. Rowena is kinda that too, but she's sincerely trying for redemption now and has really become her own character, and she's not just this quasi-ally, sometimes villain who just stands around and makes snarky jokes. That's what Belphegor will be. Oh joy! Question I wonder if they'll ever address is how the hell he can see with burnt out eyes. What's coming up next? Adam and Michael. Great. Only took them 10 years. If I was Adam, I would kill Sam and Dean for leaving me in hell all of that time when they very obviously could have saved me if they had a mind to. How will they address that? I don't have high hopes, obviously, but maybe they'll pull out something at least kind of interesting. Also this season, Sam has yet another ticking time bomb problem. I'm sure he'll lie to Dean about how bad the bullet wound is a few times at least. So, did I actually like anything about this episode? Yeah, I did. The last scene with Sam and Dean was really solid. It had a lot of layers, them talking about their childhood, reminding us again that Dean was more of a parent than brother to Sam, bringing up Kripke's most favorite theme and what used to be the driving message of the show, free will. The pair of them being like, yeah, we're going to stop the bad guys. It was just really sweet and at least served as a reminder of what could still be good about the show. Another thing I find at least a little interesting is the tension between Cass and Dean. I am what I am, folks. What can I say? Still Destiel trash. Is that tension because of what happened with Jack, or is there something else to that? I guess we'll find out soon. What did you guys think about the episode? I would really love to talk about this with anyone willing to engage. Sayonara and auf Wiedersehen.